Hello, jumping around tubers, and welcome back to Let's Play Final Fantasy Renaissance with me, BlueAnkylo. We got 100 jumps in between episodes. So now we jump really good. Quick jump, if you forget, means you get priority for your jump and your land. So you always leave at the beginning of the turn and you land at the beginning of the second turn. Makes it very reliable on timing. It also means, in theory, armor like ice armor is even less important because you probably don't take damage because everything's going to die to the super jump. Anyway, Dragoons are pretty awesome. So yeah, between episodes, I killed 100 or whatever number of enemies necessary to get the jump. And I also finished leveling up the last of my useless spell magic. I mean, it's basically useless. Let's just be honest. The way I did it this time was fighting mummies at Northwest Castle, where there's a trap tile with mummies. They are weak to light, and then arrow. Mummies are not weak to light, but the images, which are also in the same room, are. So that works pretty well. And I want to show off a couple things today. I've learned a pretty cool idea that we can only do now with Beatrix, but I guess we could have done it a little earlier. Maybe this gives you a hint. Let's go fight a somewhat difficult enemy. I will say, in terms of grinding, before I do this, getting 100 kills on the Dragoon takes nearly as long as grinding out 50 XP on, like, all of your spells. You can get, assuming that you're doing it most optimally, you can get 5 XP per kill, and you might fight 5 or 6 of an enemy at a time if you're lucky. So that's, like, optimally 2 groups of 5 that are weak to the element each. And that would be 10 enemies, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 enemies if you are optimal and you can kill them all in one turn, which you can't really. It takes 2 or 3 turns to set up with Fight All. However, the Dragoon just jumps and kills basically anything, and you still need to kind of set it up in a group like this, because if you just have everyone attacking normally, the Dragoon will get some kills, but 100 actually takes quite a long time. So it's interesting that the 2 quests there are actually kind of similar in difficulty. The thing is, the Dragoon doesn't use spell slots. You can just have them jump. They probably will kill at least something, whereas if you spend turns trying to enchant yourself and then attack later, you might not even get the kill, and it's just, I think, harder to grind these up, even though it's less total kills. Anyway, I need something like this is perfect. So what I'm going to do is get a couple... I'm going to just take some time here. Imagine we're fighting something really, really strong. And we're like, oh boy, we're going to die. These hit too hard. Look how much damage these things can do, right? So we do a couple ruses. If you had the... You can use the ruse spell as well if you'd prefer. I think 2 or 3 will give us max evade. Probably 3. But I'll just use 2 for demonstration. Interestingly... unlike other Final Fantasies, where I believe cover lowers your evasion to 0, usually, or at least often. Because the idea is you're taking a hit for someone, you can't really dodge it. But what does this mean, the ability to do this, right? It means, because cover lasts 3 turns, as long as that's all you want to do, and you're only dealing with physical attacks... assuming I did, like, 1 more level of ruse. I could also do this with someone with the invisible spell, or the invisible, like, the white shirt for Invis 2. But yeah, you could basically just cycle between your party members, if you need to. And if you only have 2 casters, then it's a little bit more efficient, because you can just, like, theoretically, I wouldn't even need to really worry about the Dragoon too often. In this group, it's not super valuable, but... I was using this to grind spells on Celeste and jumps on Freya, because cover means they don't get stunned by stun dead or whatever, or put to sleep. So you can just basically make it so the Paladin never gets hit, assuming you ruse up a little bit more, and then just spam those over and over again. It's pretty effective. I think it's a little bit of setup. That's like 5 turns, maybe 6 turns to fully set up, depending on your group. Not something we're probably going to do in this run, but depending on your group composition, if you're really slow, like you've got summoners and no quick DPS, I guess, then, you know, maybe that's worth it. I'm trying to find, like, interesting uses for my skills, and that's pretty strong at the very least. I haven't bought the level 8 magic. I think I picked up the level 7 magic between episodes, in case you're wondering. So we do have a way of self-healing here a little bit more, at least, you know, a few times per dungeon. So we can maybe test that out. And yeah, confusion is not great. It's definitely, unfortunately, like stun is not full paralysis either. So this is like disable them for 1 turn. Confuse is, I think they have like a 50% chance of recovering per turn. So it does last a little while, but well, I've done that when we did our solo, which one was it? Solo Time Mage? Or no, Solo Evoker. I haven't showed that one. I'm still working on it. Kate Sith casts Confuse on everyone, right? As a kind of one of your very few attack all enemy disables on turn 1. In a group, it works reasonably well because you clean up while they're confused. On solo mode, though, you spend a lot more time, like maybe charging up a summon for 2 more turns. And what generally happens is all the enemies wake up by the time you're done summoning, like Ramu or something, right? Like, so it's not super reliable for a status debuff. Like, it's not bad. You know, it does disable enemies for at least 1 turn. I would say maybe 2 turns on average, and a lot of them will still recover on 1 turn. So, hey, look at that. Soul Eater doing solid damage these days. That's pretty good. Yeah, I think the enchant spells need priority, and maybe an attack as well. Like, maybe a random target attack. That'd be great. It's something we will get eventually, but maybe a little bit too late. In theory, we could test out some of these drain. I haven't really been using these either. You know, 137 HP steel. That's like a cure 3. I think actually that might be better than a cure 3. Yeah, I mean, if you're into that, right? I'm trying to make sure I don't miss anything on my way down here. There was a water bell we didn't need to pick up. We learned about that with the Geomancer Mage run last time. This is a annoying fight, but with only 2 of them, we kill pretty fast. Maybe one of those fights where in a group like this you don't want to use jump, because you want to kill them on turn 1 if you can. We do have a mage staff, or we've had, here we go. Well, you just gotta kill, I think. So Light 2 does give you a chance to insta-kill. Is that better? I think we swing. We hope we get some good crits or something. We got good turnover. Killed 1, killed 2 before they got an attack. Yeah, I think, unfortunately, spending turns to buff up against enemies that do hundreds of damage just isn't really the way to play it. So, that's kind of my take. Even a fight where theoretically Enchant Light would be the most optimal, it's still not really enough. I guess I might as well use Drain on the high HP enemies. It's pretty good HP. Especially on New Game Plus. If it's 20% of their max HP, it's not gonna, like, kill them, but it's a reasonable amount of healing. Oh, that's right, I need to do the Dark Knight quest. How are we gonna do that? I need a fight... Oops, I need a fight in here that does a lot of damage, but not too much damage. I think I'll kill the Kraken first, because it's not guaranteed to work first shot. And we'll come back in and fight, I don't know, something. I did equip the Coral... We should be doing a lot of damage down here with the Coral Greatsword. But I'm probably going to switch to the Crimson's... Well... The trick is taking 1,000 damage without killing everything, so like I need a pretty large enemy group. And I'll put the Death Knight in the top slots, and then just drain until they die while the rest of the group kind of just wastes time. It's kind of the plan I have. Like, this fight wouldn't be terrible, but I think it's maybe better to save that for after we deal with Kraken. The enemies down here don't run away too easily, so a couple level ups will just make it a little easier. More HP, basically. Ooh, big group. Alright, jumpity jump, and shootity shoot, and swingity swing. So we get darkness on them. 300 damage, whew. On normal mode, that really would be very likely to kill everything. But the jump is still superior. Not a huge surprise. I think a ghost pack would be not the thing we want to do for the challenge, the quest for the Death Knight. We definitely want this ribbon, and I think we put it on the Death Knight next. Not a lot of status protections. I can equip the power glove on anyone. Anyone with a ribbon means we're not really losing. We're losing a tiny bit of absorb, but we're not losing status protection. I will get one more ribbon once we go to the final, or the Sky Castle. We'll get there. So this is this might be a good place to do the grind for the Death Knight. Gersharks are pretty dependable. They've got a lot of hit points. They hit you, but not crazy hard. Enough that we can probably heal through it. Especially if we get like a 2-pack of them. Should speed up the 1000 damage quest. I think that'll be my plan. We'll come back. Yuck. Yuck, yuck, yuck. Well, we know the drill is... Well, I suppose Super Jump, now that we have the leaping boots, it means we win immediately at the start of the second round. So we just have to survive one round. It might have been better for the Dragoon to kill something, and then we wouldn't take a hit, but everything dies right now. So that's still maybe the best solution we've got. Definitely doing some healing, though. Sheesh. I'll try to use some Drain Life on the... We can preserve some potions by using the Death Knight lifesteal stuff. What is... Oh, Absorb is beneficial effect. That's pretty bad. Is that all it does? That seems really weak. There are very few, yeah, there's very few enemies that have buffs. Very, very few that cast spells that buff themselves. Like, Wizard Vampire will cast Anti-Fire, we can steal that. That's one of the more common ones. Chaos can cast Fast on himself if he gets a chance. Here's our, finally we get an upgrade for our spear, but it's not really an upgrade, sorry. It's minus 11 damage for maybe one extra swing. Yeah. It does have pretty good crit rate. So there's that. I do think it's a downgrade, though. I've tested this a little bit. It's a super jump. Yeah, I think you want to drain higher HP enemies, actually, for trying to self-heal. Yeah, 20% of a sea snake's not that much. But yeah. It's still decent damage, but I guess the super jump is always a crit. Yeah, critical damage ignores defense. So you really just want low crit chance, high damage weapons for jumps, like a Massa. But that's okay. Almost through our first run of water. Well, I guess second run, technically. Oh, good. Poison. Still poisoning us. Also, it's cool to think of jumping underwater is pretty neat. How does gravity even work? It's a mystery. Magnets, probably. Alright, here we go. The Kraken. So, in theory, slow, pretty effective. Kraken is weak to lightning, though. Stun is also possibly worth it. The thing is, we probably just want to rush her down. Whatever, but, let me think for a second. Mute is possible, and it would stop some very weak spells. Probably just attack up and try to kill, honestly. But, I'll defense up. I think we just get out of the way with Freya. And maybe... we could go for a hold. It did work on Carrie. It's much less likely to work on the Kraken. Darkness potentially helps lower the number of attacks, sort of. I mean, it's not great. This takes way too long to set up. Like, I can give everybody one of these effects, but it takes 2 turns minimum. Got the darkness. Kraken responds with darkness. Knight gets a little bit of defense. Maybe we drain a little bit just for funsies. The Dragoon should land immediately. I wonder if this will still hit the Dragoon, because it should. Alright, cool. That's nice. Nearly killed instantly. I guess... well, funny thing is we don't need to cover them, right? Because we're gonna jump immediately. Also, we've got to test out which comes first, Warcry or priority... oh, we can't priority... yes, we can. We can priority jump. Get out of there. And now that we've got stun weapons, we should be able to stun lock it basically the entire fight. As long as we hit it somewhat regularly. Yeah, 1 there. And then it's dead. Well, of course, the real answer is you just kill it. But if it had like 10 times the HP, Bolt, because it's weak to lightning, probably stuns it every time. So it'll wake up, but then someone will hit it and it'll get stunned. It'd be very unlikely to ever get a turn. So, I still think that's cool, but it takes too much setup, right? Even if you only cast it on one person, that's still... I mean, I guess you could get lucky, go first, apply it to somebody, and then stun the boss immediately. But anyway, we gotta get my Death Knight quest done. So, I mostly just want an enemy that doesn't run away. And I think the Gersharks... well, these guys never run away, but the damage sucks, so this is not what... actually, hold on. I want to buy more heal potions before we do all this. Sorry, guys, we have to leave and buy some potions. I almost reset, but... reset all my party composition. I don't know. Might have been faster just to bounce out. Maybe it'd be nice if the Dark Knight could learn the warp spell. Wouldn't be that broke. Not that overpowered. Alright, because we might be throwing a lot of potions at him to keep him alive. And I was getting low. Alright. So you could do this on, you know, nearly any fight. Because you can bind enemies so they can't run away anyway. But we do need something that hits relatively hard and physical. I could unequip their armor to take even more damage, but I think that's a bit too risky on New Game Plus. I would like 2 Gersharks. Either we get them randomly or we go forcing. And this is a great dungeon for leveling anyway, so just getting a little bit of grind on anyway, might as well. Gross. I don't even think the Zeus's Gauntlet would make a significant difference here. It's going to do less damage than a Soul Eater. So, honestly, our group pretty decent at this. I probably don't want to spend any of his absorb charges until we get to the fight we need. There should be a message in battle when we have taken 1,000 damage. So just pay attention to that once we do it, and that should cover it. Actually, the lobsters might not be too bad. They hit a lot. They do a lot of damage too. Not so much sea snakes. But here we go. Trap tile in this room. And the lobsters. Definitely lobsters. Okay. So we get Leon up to max. And I do not unequip his gear. I do not give him evade. I might do some paladin evading so I can cover the other two so I don't have to heal anyone but Leon. So that's kind of the strat, I think. And I want double Gershar. Man, the damage output looking pretty good. Come on, double Gershar. You know what I want. I think you might be able to get double Gershar plus a Wiz Sahag. Probably. Maybe even plus 2 Wiz Sahags. This is kind of a fun side quest. I don't mind this one. There we go. Okay, so the job is to take damage. I actually need to not kill them. Yeah. I can try to put dark on them just for funsies. It doesn't change much. But yeah, we're gonna be here for a bit. So we took 87 damage. Sure, we hit one with darkness. I'll try the other one too. Why not? Double defense. Quit picking on Celeste, man. Can't get that bottom shark. Triple defense is maxed. There we go. Alright, Beatrix is maxed out on defense. I suppose I'll throw down a bind just in case our level is high enough for them to run. And then we just cover the other two. And I suppose we could throw some heal potions up. We've taken about 90 damage so far, give or take. Why did that not work? 150 damage, give or take. So we should be okay here. Huh, weird. 210 maybe? And this is a free turn for Beatrix, so... healing, I guess? Next turn we start covering from Celeste up again. So that's another 50, that's 210, or... I'm probably going to lose count. Okay, maybe 260, give or take. Haven't had to use any, like, absorb charges or anything yet. I guess we could use absorb 4 times on a Gershark without killing it. Because it's 20%. I think we cover... already covered? Oh, we get a free turn, okay. I could give them some armor, although that's kind of counter... If we were taking too much damage, you could probably use something like that, or invis up, just so they didn't get hit as often. But I think we're already doing just fine. That was a big hit. So that was maybe, I don't know, that was another 140. I think we're over 300, maybe getting towards 400 damage now. Let me just use the drain, might as well. That's 1 on the top. Probably should throw some. Well, we won't need that. Sure, that's pretty effective. Yeah, I mean, this is... I think the problem with this side quest is it is a bit... like... it's just slow, you know? if you have there are some classes that well, there's one class that has a spell. I forget which one it is. Is it like Time Mage again? It's one of those types of classes where it might be Green Mage actually, where you can basically set someone to be the tank so that they get aggro, but I think it's only like 1 or 2 turns. All attacks target them basically. I guess the classic way to do it would be just to kill everyone else. If there's only one person alive, then all the attacks go to them. So there's that. Obviously, regen or something would be nice. You just heal more. But it's really like getting targeted is half the battle right now, right? 50% of attacks should go to Leon. Maybe blinding them was a mistake. I don't know. I'm just gonna let the sharks attack us for a couple rounds. There's 100 damage. Here's a little bit more damage. Of course. Maybe put some extra armor on. Maybe rather than trying to chain cover infinitely. There's another 60, another 34, that's another 100. We're over halfway through. I'm pretty confident. We might have enough HP now that I could stop healing. I think we've taken like 500 damage, so 500 more would do it. We just don't want to die. Yeah. Another 100 damage, give or take. Exactly 8. I think this is the 4th use on the top shark. The next one might kill it if it's exactly 20%. I'll put a little bit of fog on Freya too. It's another 100. 40. Actually, should be getting pretty close. If we keep an eye on the next couple attacks, we will probably see the ability hit. There you go. I called it. I knew we were pretty close. All right, let's get out of here. Yeah, darkness, 1,000 damage. Not bad. All right, we'll go pick up a new skill. I think you have to talk to the guy in the graveyard to actually learn it. But yeah, I don't think that's really hard. Like, it's not really difficult to learn by any means, but it definitely takes some time. I don't know how long that took. Maybe 10 minutes. Maybe you can share in the comments what your ideal target is for that kind of like taking a bunch of damage. I think if you had a healer like a white mage or a green mage, you might be able to get away with unequipping his armor, and then it would just go faster. I think large enemy packs are just, especially on New Game Plus, a little bit too dangerous, because the chance of them just critting you and killing you might be a little bit too high. In a relatively small group, though, a small group of enemies, though, is much more, we can control them a lot better. I guess a large group, you just kill some, but you know, what's the point, right? Alright, let's keep it. Man. Don't like these groups very much. Still poisoned. See, sea lobsters can poison you. Although, yeah, usually your magic defense is getting to the point where it's not a huge problem. I think, yeah, the paladin is at the point where basically, even without resistant armor, they resist on-hit status effects. 1 in 100 chance to get them now, which is not much. Alright, let's get some more potions. I definitely used a few. I used nearly 50. And let's learn the last skill. Actually, survive. So this is one that seems really cool, but I've never managed to make this work either. But we now have another passive where less HP means more damage. Now, I don't know how much more. You know, I haven't mathed this one out. But theoretically, you could get to very low HP. The paladin can cover you so you don't get hit. Maybe the boss needs to be silenced or something. It depends on what you're fighting. And then you just hit for immense damage. Another way to potentially break the damage cap of any enemy dies in one hit. Not that that's particularly hard, but it can contribute, surely. These Ankylos have a lot of HP. A lot of defense, maybe, is the real thing. Okay, so where were we? We need to learn a new language. And then we need to pick up the last of our spells. And do the last elemental dungeon. Do we need to sell anything? Not really. I do think the trident is so garbage, I don't even want to see it. Get out of my sight. I don't know why you exist. Still haven't used that crimson sword. Yeah, we're gonna start getting our basically final set of gear here, but it's fine. Alright, to Lefane. Big old Tyro. Dragoons doing bonus damage to dragons, technically. I suppose if you didn't know better, a dinosaur kind of is a dragon, right? That's fair. As a 300 damage Soul Eater. I wonder, does that affect... melee damage? I was thinking if Misery affected Soul Eater, that would be pretty cool. Should have jumped. I guess. But yeah, I want to see like how much damage the Dark Knight or Death Knight can do if we get him to near death. So the enemy was blinded, but we're at minus 1/3 HP, and that was like 1,000 damage. Maybe some crits, of course, but felt pretty good. The max damage on the Death Knight might be the craziest, but I've never really had a way to set it up, so... we can't use Life 2, but we can learn End Dark. We actually have a group that has all the enchant spells. Aren't you happy? You can only cast this on yourself. And it's Death Elemental Instant Death. When you're doing 1,000 damage, you really kind of have that element already. It's unresistible. But, you know, it's another thing, right? I have a really hard time imagining when I would use that. Just like all the enchant spells, this one's self-only, which... I mean, maybe... It just removes some of the tactical... Why is that a level 8 spell? It's like... Does the developer think that is so crazy good you need to limit it till the very end of the game? What would we use that on? What are the odds of that working? It just says a chance. It just gives you Death Touch, maybe. Well, Death Elemental damage. So if an enemy was somehow weak to the Death Element, nothing is. You would do bonus damage, but nothing is weak to death. Sorry. Except me. The insta KO is cool, but I need to go to the level 8 shops. The final level 8 spell is Quad X. Kind of could have predicted that. Sadly, not very good on New Game Plus. So, with that said, I think we go to the final dungeon. Well, the final normal dungeon. That's all the magic. All the magic. We're going to have to drop some gear to pick up the last couple things, but that's alright. Let's go. Do I have enough heal potions? Oh, yeah. Not very nice. Let's just leave. Leave these guys alone. Peaceful Ankylos in the desert. You don't need to kill them. We still have 2 quests to do, theoretically. One will do for sure. And New Game Plus will be fun. Maybe a little spicy. The other quest we probably won't bother with because it means giving up the best sword in the game, which is dumb. Paladin needs a new quest. But while we're here... Hey, friend. Where is that legendary weapon? It's not here. However, we do get a pretty good sword. Beatrix could use it. It's 25 hit rate, lightning elements. It's the lightning version of the fire and ice sword, which is something Final Fantasy VI had, right? That's cool. We need 11% more hit rate. So, honestly, if the Rune Knight could equip the defense, I'd probably just switch it out, but they cannot. So this is the best they're going to get for now. It's definitely better than the ice sword. And we get half of it added just from Bladecraft. So think of this more as a, what is that, plus 18-ish? 53 base damage weapon. If only our hit percent didn't suck. Now, it should be extra effective against guards, so even more. It's like a 70 power weapon here. But still, 3 hits for 300? I mean, this is the best case scenario for the Rune Knight. And the damage is okay. But it's still not going to be as good as the other team, basically. Actually, I don't think Soul Eater works on these because they're technically mechanical. Let's see a 50% boost. What wins, Dragoon or Spellblade? 440 damage? The Dark Knight also does over 400 damage, and as long as you're one-shotting them, does it really matter? And then Super Jump does 500 damage to everything. Sorry, Rune Knight enjoyers. It's not gonna happen. Do we drop the Opal helmet to get the heal helmet? Is there any reason I would drop a couple absorb to get the babiest of heals? No. It's not enough. The Vorpal Blade... not really good on the Rune Knight because it doesn't have any effective class. The crit rate is cool, but the fighter really is the best case scenario where you have a really high strength and a high hit rate. The highest hit growth of a... I mean, you get 3% hit rate per level is as good as it gets. And the highest strength you can get. So really the Vorpal... It's not bad. But... And maybe on New Game Plus it's a little better because a lot of enemies have very high absorb. And you could fire enchant it to give it 20% more crit, if that's what you want. But I think a higher base damage weapon with 20% crit is still better. We definitely want the Aegis Shield, though. Let's just toss this Flame Shield in the garbage. Sorry, Flame Shield enjoyers. That will give us Poison Stone resistance. Interesting that the Rune Knight can equip it. But they're not going to get it. Beast Sword. Beast Mode Sword. Odd enough that it's in the same exact spot as the Bolt Sword and is a little bit worse. I think the Blue Wizard can equip this, so you can get it for a couple people. But weird that the fighter cannot equip it. If your hit rate was at exactly the right level, this would... We would get an extra swing in level 31 through level 34. That might be worth it. Wind Glove, nothing does wind damage. Why would you bother with that? Like, really, unless you're fighting the fairy summon. Is there anything that can do wind damage? I don't think so. You get a couple spells. There's a couple classes that can do it, very rarely. But enemies? No. I think that's the worst glove, extra glove added in the game, maybe. And there's some pretty bad gloves. I might as well keep killing things, though. It's fun. Theoretically, you know, weak to lightning. Oh, that's right. We'll never be able to enchant him before he jumps now. He's got the leaping boots. That's... Should have known. Alright, took a big hit. I'll try to just absorb that back up on some tanky enemy. Maybe we go, like, Warcry, Super Jump. $1,400 damage with Warcry? What is with that? There was no statuses. That's just with us taking a little bit of damage. It is possible that Misery skill really is actually insane. I don't think I tested out very much in my first run with the Death Knight. But just keep that in mind whenever you see Leon do ridiculous damage. How much of a boost is he getting? Because it might be a tremendous amount. Poor Spellblade, why do your skills suck so much, whereas other people get this crazy OP stuff? I mean, we are hitting so hard on that Death Knight. By the way, if you have a Thief, there is a special Thief-only Greatsword. Let me look it up. I'm just... Because it's something synergistic for Death Knight. I've never had a chance to equip it because, you know, it's a very specific party composition. You can get the Chaos Greatsword in, after this. It's in the final dungeon, so you have to go to back 2,000 years in time. But if you've got the Thief, you can get the Chaos Greatsword. The damage isn't crazy. It's only 30 damage, minus 10 hit. So it's definitely weaker than the Cobalt Greatsword. But what it says, it has a secret effect, or maybe it tells you, I don't know. But it gives you more chance for Dark to kill. Like, Dark KO chance up. Is that good? I mean, you'd have to test it out. You only get it in the final dungeon. The base damage is not amazing. 3230. Honestly... at this level... Well, one more level up. And it's a small upgrade. But there's probably more things weak to lightning than there are undead. It also is 2 more damage than the defense sword, assuming I'm not losing an attack. And I would be, actually. Well, we just happen to be at a level where the sun sword's not amazing. We also need to pick up the best armor in the game. Yeah, I think it's time to ditch the flame armor, finally. Opal Bracelet is still going to be tied with flame armor, but lighter, and we have a ribbon, so we don't really need it. And ice armor or flame armor doesn't matter because we have a ribbon, so we just drop this, pick up this, and then, yeah, oh, wow, anyone can equip it. If only we could get 4. Wow, I didn't expect that. That's cool. It just goes on whoever doesn't get the ribbon, though, basically. And strictly speaking, the knight has the most magic defense by a decent margin. So they're the least likely to get one-shot by spells anyway. There's that spear. Finally got a real spear upgrade. It's definitely an upgrade, right? Like, magic beasts seem fairly common. But 4 more damage, some crit that doesn't matter, and 10% hit rate. Almost gets us another attack. 1 more level up. So, yeah, good. Yeah, unfortunately, wind, or holy elemental, you know, there's just not that many enemies that works on. Nice seeing them hit, even on New Game Plus, 2 hits, 2 damage. That's fun. There we go. 500, 600 damage on the jump. Feeling pretty strong, I must say. That's a lot of mummies. But we got a preemptive strike. That just means we win. Like, it's kind of silly. But if you have a Dragoon at a decent level, any preemptive strike, once you have the leaping gloves, or the leaping boots in specific, Like, what can they possibly do? 1,000 damage to an entire group? The war cry certainly helps, but even without that, I don't think they could survive. Of course, enemy ambush. But I think we all resist fire now, so maybe not Celeste. We'll get there. Can't runic this, so I think I've talked about that before. I am trying to get my HP lower on Leon, oddly enough. It's kind of silly. The runic doesn't work on enemy skills, which Scorch is a skill. Enemy spells only, which there actually aren't as many as I was hoping, right? It's kind of easy to forget. If you group enemy skills with enemy spells, it seems like they're pretty common. Also, darkness, 1,300 damage. Embrace that darkness. Yeah, boy. Finally need a little bit of healing. Alright. We do have a ribbon on Leon. We're not going to get thundered down or anything. We do have extra effective against dragons. Maybe we just go for Warcry Dragon attack. Should be fine. Sure, 50 damage is no biggie. There's your 1,100 damage. Yeah. This is still just doing regular attacks with a small Warcry bonus. Don't want to heal up my Dark Knight too much. And we're swinging for just... We're only level 31. Like, that's a good level, but... Like, the amount of damage we can deal in Renaissance is just insane. I love it. But, like we've talked about, where's my New Game Plus Plus? When my weakest character can still one-shot things under Warcry, we're doing alright. Oh, that's right, there's these worm things. Because we have a Dragoon, these might be something to think about. Before I pick them up, I'm going to check their stats. Because we don't have a lot of space. So, Worm Gloves, Dragoon and Beastmaster only. They are 10 Absorb. So as long as we keep a ribbon on the Dragoon, we don't need the Pro Ring. And we do get a little bit more Absorb. And then the other worm is Hat. And that's much harder to justify. The Worm Helmet is 10 Absorb, which is 2 more than the Opal. But no status protection, and you have to give up the ribbon for it, which I don't think is worth it. Even dropping the Protect Ring for the gloves is pretty mid, but because it's kind of unique, I will pick that up. But the Worm Helmet, it does not provide the same effect. I think the idea is if you have the Dragon Armor, you give that to the Dragoon. But they don't get a shield slot, so without a ribbon, they're still pretty vulnerable. I don't know. I did get the Bane Sword. I didn't look at that. I know the equipment strength of it is not crazy. Like, the actual damage values are not out of this world. Getting a lot of swords here. Yeah, definitely not super strong. Some people really like using it in battle to kill Tiamat. Are we... Yeah, we're at the point where we want the Sun Sword, probably. That extra swing is worth a slightly less damage. Unless you're fighting something weak to lightning, which... Up in the sky? Probably not too likely. There's that Golden Axe. If you're going... I think that's the best weapon a Beastmaster can equip. If you want damage. Unfortunately, nobody else is allowed to use it, which is weird. I think it would be fine for the Paladin to equip axes, at least. Oh, we got a Preemptive Strike. Might as well just take the free XP. And it's fastest to just not even attack, because we don't need to. Didn't even need to use Warcry, not even close. These left and right floor rooms, first sky floor, whatever you want to call this one, the plus sign room, not very important. Another heal helmet, another protect ring. If you needed them, sure, they're there. But we got ribbons. We're getting a lot of preemptive strikes, which is neat. It's 1,000 damage. So I'm trying to let Leon stay a little bit low just to see how much damage he does. It's definitely a lot. Let's get the ribbon. I don't have enough space to pick everything up. I don't think I'm gonna bother with the black and white shirt. We don't really do magic. That's not our thing. But this is good. Finally upgrade that silver helmet. I guess technically we could have given a better helmet to the Rune Knight for a little while there, but that's what we really care about. Opal shield. That's a spare opal shield. Is that extra? Maybe that was always there, but there's not very many shield users in this game that could equip it. Usually it's only the Knight. For us, we get Knight and Spellblade. Is there anyone else that can equip advanced shields? I don't know. Anyway, here is one of the higher damage. Is this the best greatsword? It's kind of questionable. Switching through greatswords. Yeah, this is the highest damage greatsword. That's a lot of hit rate loss. A lot of crit, though. 64. It is enough. So it's only 15% drop. We are at the point where we get 3 swings. So level 31 is probably when you want to equip that. And then you have the maximum damage at 89 plus your strength. And the strength is really good because of all those bats we ate a lot of bats. Yeah, I mean, we'll see how the damage looks. Let's just play with some Manticores. Yeah. Now, of course, having someone who can cast fast would be ideal, but we don't need waste time buffing, right? Is there anything else on this floor? Normally, just the white and black shirt. I don't think there's any custom gear for us because we've got our best greatsword. Oh, there is a spear somewhere. It is on this floor. Yeah, I double checked. The unique single class weapons. I can't remember which room it's in. I think it might be the left side, but it's not the bottom right. I can tell you that much. But yeah, Death Knight, definitely highest direct single target damage without buffing. I mean, sure, his HP needs to be a little bit low, but you can put him in the back row pretty easy. Maybe top left seems possible. Grr Medusas. I think everyone actually protected from stone now, thanks to the Aegis shield. 1200 damage. It's crazy. That's like black belt level of punches. Alright, there is our actual best spear, I think. So, well, we lose 15 hit. That loses us a swing. However, we get 5 damage. Is that enough? If there are probably more things weak to wind than holy, although they kind of have an overlap. It's kind of the same thing. It does say it ensures jump success. I don't know what a jump fail is, though. What is a jump failure? What is such a thing? Is it real? I don't know. This floor has a protect cloak, the katana nobody can equip, and nothing else we need. Maybe we heal up a little bit before we do the Bridge of Destiny. Maybe. Whiz Vampire. Here we go. Holy Spear is gonna tear these guys up. Sun Sword if it was equipped, maybe. There we go. We could steal their buff now with Leon's spell. Yeah, we should just target the same creature. We can probably one-shot them even on New Game Plus mode, but that's a lot of XP. That's a pretty sweet fight. These guys, hey, I remember you. I don't like you guys very much. Fasting them is just rude. Now, their trance can still hit us. We got a little lucky there. It is non-elemental, so, you know, it doesn't really matter if you've got ribbons. But it does matter if you have a lot of magic resistance. Or if you're just lucky. Just be good. Just get good, guys. Well, I'll drop my Dark Knight's damage a little bit, just to make sure I don't get one shot. Or to reduce the chance of getting one shot. Doesn't matter. We didn't get any... That's the second time that's happened, where we just run across like there's no encounters. That's wild. For Tiamat... I could switch the Sun Sword over to the Paladin. I'm not gonna use the... I'm not gonna use that. Don't need the Water Sword anymore. The Beast Sword is unlikely. What are we at for hit rate? 99, so we can afford to drop 3% hits. We can afford to drop any number of hit there. Well, we've currently got... we drop 10 for 5 more damage. It barely matters, but we can. It would actually work against war mechs should we run into one. It's min-maxing like this doesn't matter. Like you know what's gonna happen. We're just gonna style on Tiamat here. So do we just do that? Warcry jump, she dies? Probably. Seems pretty likely. We could try insta-death. I mean, when is this worth trying? I don't know. You can also go for Bane and just kill her like that. We've got so many ways. It's kind of silly. Maybe we just put Dark on her, and she is, oddly enough, actually weak to poison, so this would increase damage. Doesn't matter, the Dragoon's gonna kill her in one hit. If the Dragoon doesn't kill her in one hit, the Death Knight will. 2,000 damage, not even remotely close. Actually, to be fair, that's almost exactly her HP, so that was pretty close. But like, Tiamat had no chance. Yeah, even on New Game Plus, 2,000 is not nearly enough. So, cool. GG. Let's go get our sword. And I guess we have a couple side quests to talk about. Ah, this group's pretty cool. Maybe this is my second favorite group. The All Mages was a lot of fun. This group, boy, do we feel strong, right? Like, not as overpowered, like, enemies never get a turn type thing, but still very strong. So here we go. Best weapon. Arguably better on Celeste because we get 22 bonus damage. But then also arguably better on the Dragoon, or the Fighter, the Knight, because our stats are better. So, like, would you rather have... What's that? 32, 60... normal attack is 1. 32, 64, 96, 128. 32, 64. So this is 5 attacks currently. 70 damage times 5 versus... And also effective bonus, of course. But, or, and I guess we should include... Okay, it is actually doubled, right? Because... basically, everything in the world is weak to one of the elements, or is a family. I guess there are some no weaknesses, but almost everything in the game except Chaos has at least one family or resistance. So we'll just assume it's doubled. So add 45. We're losing 1 attack to have 108 damage. Sure, it's probably slightly better on the Rune Knight. I guess. But then no one can use the beast sword. I don't know. Not like the fighter even needs it. They're fine. And besides, maybe the fighter is, or the paladin is covering and using Warcry more than attacking anyway. This also kind of disincentivizes Celeste to ever use magic. So there is also that factor. You give them the best damage weapon, and then why would you not swing it, right? Alright, let's buy some potions. We do have a boss fight, though. And on New Game Plus, it's a spicy meatball. Last time was normal mode. But that Wandering Swordsman, never did deal with him. We'll deal with him in the next episode of Final Fantasy Z. Thanks for watching, folks. You saw the timer. You knew. I'll see you next time. Have a great day.